Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is May the 2nd, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. I want to first start off by taking a look to see how the indices closed the session here for the day. The Dow Jones was up 130 points, a little over 130 points. The Nasdaq was up 41.5 points, and the S&P 500 was up 14.89, about 15 points there. If we take a look at the breadth on the market, we had 4,551 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. We had 1,546 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. Therefore, breadth was in favor of the bulls, pretty much reversing yesterday's action on the markets and on the breadth. Just about a 4-to-1 there, kind of the same way we had just about a 4-to-1 to the downside yesterday. So we got this little tug-of-war action going up here near these highs. So let's go ahead and break down the charts first. Let's take a look at the SPY. We have the S&P 500 ETF here, which closed up $1.47, up 0.93%. If you take a look, we closed at 159.75, and we closed right near these highs. Again, remember, we have to break above and close above these highs to confirm that we want to try to push higher. So far, we're just kind of bumping our head against this level right here. All right, we do have these nice little short-term moving averages guiding us up here, the 8 EMA SMA and the 5 EMA SMA, followed by the 20 down here. And you can see they're starting to move a bit apart, which is good if we're looking for the markets to go higher with this trend that we have taking place right now. All right, so levels to watch in the SPY, of course, 159.75 area. If we got to break above that, then of course we'll be looking for a move over 160, maybe 160 half to 161 or so. As you guys know, the SPY is making new all-time highs, so there's no resistance above us until we form some type of resistance. So at least path of resistance is to the top side. So you want to make sure you stick with that trend there, unless we get like a full bar reversal and we make some lower pivot lows or something. Right now, you've got to make sure you stick with the trend. A lot of traders out there trying to short the market, and it's tough. There are some stocks to trade to the short side, but you have to pick your spots. You have to pick your spots pretty tight, like a sniper. But it's much easier playing with the trend. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs here for the Nasdaq. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the ES action. All right, because I wanted to show you guys how the ES is looking. The ES bounced right off of that level that I told you guys to watch yesterday. All right, this key trend line right here that we're gauging. If you take a look at the ES on the channel system I have, you can see that we're starting to compress a little bit here. And I want to see maybe we're going to get this little back and forth action between these two little lines I have here. But if once we get a breakout and hold above this little trend line, I'm going to be looking for that continuation topside. Could that happen tomorrow on the jobs number? It could, but at the same time, we could move right back down to the downside in the jobs number, then maybe come right back off the lows and form like a little hammer or something. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day to watch, so make sure that you do some good research, so you have your go-to stocks to trade, and then you have your other stocks that you can watch intraday for relative strength or relative weakness. But keep an eye on the ES. As long as you can continue to hold above this 1580 area, all right, against this little 1580, 1579 area, you have to just stick with this trend right here. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs, the Nasdaq here. These triple Qs making its way higher, guys. We're starting to see some momentum pick up in the Nasdaq, and that's looking pretty good. If as you guys know, the Nasdaq, the triple Qs have been lagging here, and now they're picking up some steam, making new highs. All right, and just the least path of resistance is to the top side. Let me drag this screen over here, and you can see the monthly chart now. We're above this 70.52 level, which is a 50% retracement from the tech bubble sell-off. The next level to watch is up here around 82.37, and at the same time, you can see that we're holding above these 70s, this 70 level here, 70. What's this, that 70.52 key area from the 50% retracement. So if we can hold above that 70.52, look for this to continue. You can see the weekly chart. Earlier in the year, the weekly chart was, the chart was pretty choppy. Little fake breakouts, fake breakdowns, shakeouts, shakeups, all the good stuff until finally we held this key 68 level for a good 2 months or so, and now we're starting to lift off that level. You're gonna see like this nice little pennant squeeze pattern right here against that base. So Keep an eye on the triple Qs. Make sure you do your research to find some stocks that are heavily weighted in the triple Qs, or find some stocks in the triple Qs that have a nice bullish pattern on it. Look for some nice technology stocks that look like they could go higher, and those should be some go-to names if we continue to push higher. All right, and what I wanted to show you guys on the Nasdaq futures here, on my NQ, I got a little channel system on the NQ here, the daily chart. Okay, and you can see that the daily chart of the Nasdaq futures, they have been trading this little range I have highlighted here, as you guys can see. All right, buying the bottom, buying the top instead of the upper angle, but now we're starting to hold above it. The moving average is starting to curve up a bit here. Therefore, as you guys know, these upward channels usually resolve to the downside. You can see this is an upward channel at an angle. All right, but if we hang above the top of the trend line, from what I've studied and what I've researched, they usually continue higher, and it gives like a nice momentum move. So let's keep an eye on the on the Nasdaq, the triple Qs, and on these technology stocks here, because they could get another push higher. LinkedIn did report after the bell today. All right, let's go and take a look at LinkedIn real quick. Come on, let's go. All right, so LinkedIn reported after the bell today, and the stock got crushed here. Stock closed at 201, and it will be opening somewhere around maybe around 181 tomorrow if it doesn't rally pre-market or any more after hours here. All right, so they got smashed down. AIG made a nice little move to the top side. All right, AIG made a nice little move to the top side. Nice pattern here. Then take a look at this after hours. The stock ran all the way to 43.60. So, keep an eye on those two stocks for earnings. But let me get back to the indices here real quick. I wanted to go over the IWM. All right, I want to see how the IWM closed today. The IWM back above that 92.70 level. So you can see they're chopping a lot of people up around the 92.70 level here. Above the 92.70 level, there's buyers. Below it, there's sellers. Above it, there's buyers. Below it, there's sellers. All right, so a little chop action around its 92.70. Once we can form a nice little higher pivot above this 92.70 level, then we should be looking for these highs to get taken out. Again, if the Nasdaq can continue to push higher, all right, and the S&P 500 could hold up, we should see the Russell 2000 pick up some momentum again, as it was the leading index at the start of the year. Okay, let's not forget that. All right, and now that the Nasdaq is picking up some steam here, this thing, this ETF IWM Russell 2000 should be able to catch a bid again here and move to the top side. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Let's take a look at the dollar futures here. This morning, the ECB came out and they cut the rate they cut the rate by 25 basis points to 0.5%. Okay, the initial reaction to the euro spiked up, dollar spiked down, but then that reversed a bit, and the dollar ended up reversing back to the top side, and the euro reversed to the downside. All right, now the dollar held that trend line again that I was tracking with you guys yesterday. Okay, and this thing can maybe get a nice move back up to 83.25 if this holds, because this is a trend line break and this is an official back test. Okay, now one thing that's pretty interesting today is that the market traded higher with the strong dollar. I want to see how that correlates going into tomorrow's session, if that correlation is still there, because of course you guys know usually a strong dollar has been causing weakness in the market. And today we saw a little bit change in characteristics here, so we have to keep a close eye on that. Let's go and take a look at the euro, see how the euro closed the session for the day. All right, then we'll take a look at some key stocks that I did some research on here before the video. So the euro, that was a little fake breakout yesterday above this 132 level. We're back down near the lower range. I would say if we break below 130 and hold below 130, we could have some downside action that could sell the euro off back down towards these little lower levels right here. 128, 128.5, with this little 129.61 area. So keep an eye on that. Volatility index was downtrending the whole day today. The VIX was just trending down all the way from a high of 1364. Sorry, not a high of 1364. All the way from a high of 1448 to a low of 1359, guys. So once again, the VIX spikes up and sells off, and we've seen that characteristic for a while now. We've seen that happen quite a while. So keep an eye on this 13.5 level. We hold below 13.5 and we break below 13. Look for this VIX to come down back down towards 12. Okay, another thing that you could keep on watch, this little trend line right here on the VIX. Okay, let's see what else do I want to go over. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some stocks here real quick. Starting off with Apple. I want to go over Apple. I know a lot of you guys out there like to trade Apple, so let me show you guys what I see going on with the charts. Apple, first of all, one trend line that you want to watch in Apple is going to be coming from this little high right here to this little high right here. Okay. Uh, Next thing you want to see, if we can hold above this 440 level, which is a key level from right here, we could base on top of that level for a bit, consolidate from this nice move we had right here, 467, which could be the next target if we decide to break over these 455s or so. Okay. So Apple still looking good, hanging in there. Pretty tough buy up here. If you miss the trade from the off the lows, you want to wait for a pullback. And it's going to have some trendline resistance right here at 455, 456. Amazon had a nice little bounce today. Did not sell off at all. Still hanging around these 200-day moving averages. As you can see here, remember the first time, right back here, back in, was this October? No, sorry, that's actually November. Back in November, it sold all the way down to the 200-day moving average, bounced. Pretty nice. Same thing right here. Are we going to consolidate a bit down here, shaking some shorts maybe, and then squeeze back up? We'll see. There has been, there hasn't been any confirmation close to the downside showing us that we want to move lower. So keep an eye on the Amazon. If we could get back above, I would say 255, Amazon can have a nice pop back up towards 260, maybe 262 or so. So keep that one on watch. We're still hanging near the bottom of the range that we were trying to break below down here. Okay, we're still hanging in there. Okay, what else looks good today? Some more stocks that look pretty interesting to keep on your radar is Lulu. All right, Lulu's in a nice little uptrend. I know it's a tough buy to try to buy in this uptrend here, but it doesn't look like it wants to pull back. So keep an eye. This little high is going to act like a trigger because anybody that's short versus these highs, they're going to get stopped out if we wick over those levels. Then we could have some more buyers come in the market in the stock if the momentum is going to pick back up. So keep that one on your radar. If you take a look at the hourly chart, all right, 1 second. Take a look at hourly chart. You have a nice little support down here around 74. And you have these little highs up here around 77.25 or so, and this little resistance, this little area of resistance right here from 76.5. So if we could stay above 76.5, all right. By the way, this is an hourly chart. If we could stay above 76.5 and break over these highs right here, this thing can have a nice little power move back up towards 78 or so, probably even higher. So keep that one on your radar as well. Now I didn't get a chance to take a look at DECK Deckers. This is another specialty retail store that is, sold off from the earnings and it's doing nothing right now, hanging below these declining moving averages that are starting to curl over a bit. All right, another stock today that traded pretty well was Visa. Visa had earnings this morning. They did pretty well. The stock traded higher. Let's see how did they do. Let's take a look at their earnings real quick here. Let's see, actual $1.92 versus $1.81 estimate. So they beat their earnings per share. Stock traded higher. You can see the stock's in a nice little upward channel back here since June of last year, and we stopped right at the channel. And I would say you probably got to expect some type of consolidation up here before it tries to, move higher above that top of that channel. Again, if we break the top of that channel and we hold that level there, then that's going to act as support. We can see this thing lift off. So keep this one on your radar as well. Another stock that came out with earnings, and they didn't really do that good, but the stock traded higher for some reason. I believe they were making some more revenue, or the revenues increased by a certain amount. Let's take a look at the numbers here real quick. Come on, Yelp. And it looks like the actual was minus 8 cents loss, and the estimate that they were going to lose they were supposed to lose, they estimated that they'll lose 5 cents. They actually lost 8 cents, so it actually did worse than expected, and the stock still traded higher. Pretty interesting, huh? Keeping this one on watch. So the stock traded a pretty decent intraday. It's not the best intraday stock to trade. It's kind of hard to trade intraday, especially if you're trying to look for an entry. If you take a look at the 5-minute chart, they really didn't give you a good entry until like around this little area right here, right, which happens to be 30.50 right here. If you caught this little pause bar right here on the 5-minute, but aside from that, this one was kind of like a nice little grind higher, and it was a pretty spready stock. This stock usually has a decent amount of spread on it, 10-cent spread or 7-cent spread sometimes. So be careful with this one, but it looks like it wants to go higher. This stock was an IPO back here in February of last year, and looks to go higher. Okay, may need to consolidate a bit, but definitely looks like it wants to go higher. That's a powerful candle with the highest volume it has seen since it IPO'd. What else? Facebook, we traded this one today pretty well. If you go to our Facebook page, you will see how we traded it. We actually were able to catch this one for a good move, which caught it for a good move. Let me bring my chart down here. 1 second. We caught this one for a good move. We got involved right here around 28.45, 28.46. There's a lot of tape action with some sellers around the 45 area, but then it started holding above 30 on the 15-minute chart, and then it broke above 30. Then it held a higher bid, and then we got involved right here, put a stop at 30, and this thing just consolidated during the whole lunchtime. Then when I got back from lunch from the Owl House with my other trading partner, we came back, and next thing you know, we were getting payday. We were able to sell this thing out right up there at 28.92, and then held a piece until the close, and sold it at the close. This thing tried to break past 29, but right when it got to 29, there was about 300 shares lined up at the offer. Got rejected a couple times. Then it went through 29, and those shares got eaten up real quick, and then it came right back down, and it's closed right at 29. So keep an eye on this stock. This stock does have a gap here, a gap fill around 29.76, which could be the target for tomorrow. This whole area, it's kind of like an air pocket right here from this little gap down. So Facebook could make a nice fast move up towards 29.75, maybe even 30. See the volume is starting to increase. Consecutive higher volume bars there. Not consecutive closes yet, because we actually made a lower close yesterday, as you can see here. We do have consecutive higher volume candlesticks starting to come in here as we trend to the top side. What else? Monsanto. This is a nice looking stock. I actually heard them talk about this on Fast Money. I had this research already done on the stock, though, as far as the technical analysis point of view goes. They didn't talk fundamentals, though, but the guy, I forgot his name. The guy that does a lot of the Russian, emerging market stuff, Tim. I believe he said that he likes Monsanto. They should go long Monsanto and short potash. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, the Monsanto's chart looks, much stronger than potash's chart. You can see Monsanto's starting to develop this nice little upward channel right here. So keep an eye on Monsanto. If it can trigger past these highs, it's pretty much forming like a nice little compression pattern. This thing can move up towards 110 pretty quick. Okay, if you take a look at potash, which I have some annotations on this chart as well. Potash, ever since it broke down out of this little upward channel back here in February, it's been selling off, making lower lows and lower highs. Finally broke the downtrend line last week, and it's been trading high since. This is like a little downward trend line break, so this stock really needs to pull back a bit before you try to get long, or it needs to form some type of high base that you can manage your risk against. Okay, and that's about it, guys. Blabbering off here, making the video too long. Have a great day. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. If you would like to get access to our chat room, mywallstreettv.com, make sure you go to wallstreettrading.com and fill out the form on the right-hand side. We're going to be doing webinars pretty soon, along with pre-market videos showing you guys how we prepare for the morning trade. And that's about it, folks. Have a great night. Cheers.